wood for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As everybody knows, this club is 50 years old this year. And where did Bob La Liberty go? Oh, there you are. Okay. Well, we got you and Joe Gilbert something as a token of our appreciation for what you guys have done over. For whatever your reasons, you did the right thing at the right time. This is a 1911 45 marked with the clubs, and the grip has the club insignia and Bob's name on it. And we'll have to pick this up at Julian's. We could. Julian, yeah, because it's got a 4473. You'll have to, yeah, we can't give you the gun today by federal law. Yep. Well, he has to leave, so, and again, thank you. We also have a similar firearm for Joe Gilbert, who couldn't make it, and I'm looking for Julian Field.
He's over there.
No, I see him hiding down the corner.
Julian. We're not going to run out of food,
Julian, we have a set of grips for you with your in recognition of your 40 years with the Junior Club. It is there. Right now the text is very small, but it's going to be redone. Yep.
So thank you.
Now I would like to have Jim Buford up here. We'll get a little bit of history from him. All right, where is he? Ah.
You said a little bit?
I didn't think you were going to duck out of a chance to talk.
Yeah, John asked if I would at least give a little history to at least some of the new folks in the club. The history of the club really has to go back a little before 50 years ago. It started out with a young man coming back from Panama, being discharged from the Marines. He was on a Marine shooting team down there. He came back to Augusta, found a few friends. He wanted to find a good place to shoot. And the first place they ended up going to was up the road here a little bit in Sydney at the Arnold Trail Club. Well, they showed up with all their rifles and pistols and found out that those guys were all shotgun shooters. They tended to keep their nose in the air a little higher than the rest of the folks that are in this group. You know how shotgun shooters are. So they got together, found a piece of land here, 20 acres, found it was for sale, and they kind of worked their way to come up with enough money to buy it. At that time, it was $800.
There's a lot of money.
And back in '64, that was a little bit of money, but they scraped enough together. Some stories say that one of the fellas, well, we'll get to that. But anyway, it ended up where they found the money. Paul LaRochelle is the guy who came back. He got into his name. He ended up basically owning it. And he then ended up going across the river over to a friend of his who was running a filling station over there up on Hospital Street, still there, Joe Gilbert. He walks up to Joe, one hand stand, and I get this directly from Paul, so it has to be true. Paul never told a lie in his life. I'm sorry. Except the game wardens. Where's the game wardens? So, anyway, Paul said he went up to Joe and said, "Hey Joe, how'd you like to belong to the Augusta Rifle and Pistol Club?" And Joe thought for a second, because Joe was pretty quick at that time, and said, "There isn't one." And Paul said, "Yes, there is now. I'm going to be the president, you're going to be the treasurer, let's go find some other folks." And they started out that way. And I'm going to break the history down to the first 20 years and the last 30 years, because things changed dramatically. The first 20 years, these guys struggled. If you see the things that were built here, it's pretty much everything was done by hand and done by those guys who started things off, at least laying the things out. Interesting fact, at the main range, if you've been over there, you used to shoot in this direction, not that direction. This was pretty much where the firing line was, out in this area. And that worked for quite a few years until some new shooters came and tend to miss the impact berm. And unfortunately, there's houses over there. And even that didn't bother people until some guy was over there doing his roof and said, "You know, there's bullets flying over my head, things need to change." And so the police came up and said, "Fellas, you got to do something different." And they actually changed the whole range about 90 degrees, so now we shoot up to Sydney Bond. Back then, the guys who belonged actually loaned money to the club to keep things going. And hopefully they got paid back, and some of them did get paid back and said, "Just keep the money. We'll keep working." And that's how things got built here. The 10, 15, 20 people that started out, we owe them a huge debt of gratitude to keep things going, because it very easily could have folded at any time. About 20 years ago, we had a big surge in growth. I know for a fact that 20 years ago we had 125 members and $250 in the bank account. I know that because that's when I became Secretary Treasurer. And we had a whole bunch of bills to pay, such as property taxes to the city of Augusta. We do pay property taxes, and a fair amount these days, insurance, and we had to keep all the programs going. And it was a struggle, but we went from 125 members, and within 5 years we were up over 300, and then 400 another 5 years later. And during that growth, we ended up on the main firing line. They only had a few little covers over some spots. We decided that we wanted to cover the whole firing line. You see the big timbers that were used, those came from the Augusta Railroad Station. We didn't steal them, they tore the station down. We went down, Julian actually went down, picked out which timbers we could afford, because again, it goes back to, we had a lot of $800 things. We paid $800 for all those timbers. We had enough money to do that, but we didn't have any money to spend any more than that, so that's why you see some strange construction down through there. We had to build that, design it to fit the lumber that we had, not the other way around. Luckily, it's held up for about 30 years. That really surprised me because I'm the guy who designed it. I didn't expect it would. Things like the flagpole we have over here. Some of you who have been around Augusta for many years may recognize that actually came from the Key Bank, the old Key Bank. When they decided to build a new one, they were going to tear stuff down. One of our members walked in and said, "Hey, what are you going to do with the flagpole?" I said, "Well, we're just going to get rid of it." I said, "Can we buy it from you?" And they said, "You can have it, but you have to take it down." So you can imagine in the middle of the day, in the middle of Augusta, 3 people around the flagpole with a hacksaw cutting it off, as people walking by going, "What's going on?" Then we had to put it in the back of a pickup truck, and you know how far it sticks out from there, and drive it out here. And then find a way to decide where we were going to put it. Originally it was over here. We used to have this fenced-in area playground. A couple of us went with a pickup truck. They had down in Rockland, or Rockport, there's a place that Cedar Works that has a playground. Every year they have essentially a sale that they get rid of all the stuff from last year. We left Augusta sometime around 4 in the morning to be first in line because you had first choice. And we were able to set that up, and that lasted for 25 years before it rotted out. And hopefully someday maybe we can have another place for the kids. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when you take a look at the pictures inside, you find that this was just one big field. There was nothing out here. We decided that we wanted to break this up into some ranges, especially small bore range, because the junior club was taking the kids down to national championships. And so this berm that you see between the pistol range and the small bore range was built by the juniors and a couple of us seniors using a pickup truck and a bunch of old tires. And we hauled sand by hand from out by the main range or in a pickup truck over here to fill the tires to build this up by hand. So you can tell the type of stuff, everything was done by hand. It's amazing the kind of work that went in. Most of the work was done probably in a 10-year time frame between 20 and 30 years. Today, we have over 800 members. We drop off every year, then build it back up again. From all over the country, we got people here from Pennsylvania, down the Cape in Massachusetts, who have made it up. I think it's fantastic. We do have members from as far away as Florida that I know of, and maybe a few other spots that may be even farther than that. We have enough money in the treasury now that we can do things like this. So we have come a long way. Probably one of the best facilities, I'm going to say north of Boston. I might even say south of Boston because I worked in Massachusetts and saw some of them down there, and I think we're as good as most of them down there. We have a lot to be proud of. But there's one thing I want to bring up that I know I am, and I think the rest of you ought to be proud of more than anything else. We have a safety record here that is unmatched by any other sporting facility. Not just in the state, not just in the U.S., but any place in the world, except for other shooting facilities. And that includes things like ski areas, tennis courts, golf courses. We have a safety record better than any of them. And that's something we need to be proud of and stay proud of. Thank you. Where'd John go? He's eating. It'll be a while before we have anything new. Enjoy your food.
That will do.
As long as you're listening and you're all set. One of the other things that we have to bring out is that while the club is celebrating its 50th anniversary, We have a junior club associated with us that's now celebrating their 40th anniversary. Now, the amazing thing about that was that you've had one person running that junior club for 40 years, and that is unheard of. That's Julian Beal. He's sitting down, trying to be inconspicuous down in the corner down here. So let's just, we'll give you a little history of this club, that club also. The junior club started out here with 2 or 3 rifles that Julian had and has brought out for the kids to use. And has grown to the point where we've had probably as many as 75 juniors shooting in the program. Over the past 5 years, twice the NRA has recognized that this junior program as being one of the best in the country, and also USA Shooting has done the same thing. It's an honor that not many clubs receive, period, and to have a repeat is just pretty amazing in itself. Within those 40 years, we've had at least one national champion in the juniors, many state champions, individual, many more state champions as far as the teams go.
People on the U.S. national team.
We've had a couple juniors that have gone on to, and one of them's here today, that competed on the national, at least the national development team has shot in the World Cup matches. We've had other juniors that have gone on and received scholarships at colleges and shot on the rifle teams there. So it's a program that this club should be damn proud that it has right here with us, and the type of the support it gets from you guys has been fantastic. And it's shown in the kind of results that have been obtained by the juniors shooting here. In most cases, I mentioned how well they shoot, but more importantly is teaching them not just safety, but responsibility, discipline, and watching them grow up to be worthwhile adults, and hopefully part of our shooting fraternity. Now, that just reminded me of a couple things I forgot about mentioning with the seniors. We have had here in our club 3 people that I know of who have set national shooting records. One, I believe, who has shot a world record. One of the national records was shot right here at this club. And we've had at least one, I don't know how many. We've had a number of national champions. So I think we as a club are pretty darn good at what we do. So a good round of applause to us.
Just a quick thing, I think we should all thank Bob, Stan, and Chris, who are cooking, Bob for providing the whole salad. You guys want to sit down and take a break? Ed Stanhope, you've got something to present?
I've been a member here for over 30 plus years to support the junior program. I used to compete in matches here. These days I'm lucky to be able to attend matches here. But my other hat today, not this one, but my other hat that's in the band somewhere, is Pine Tree Rifle Pistol Association. And I'm representing them because I'm the postal match director, and that's where you shoot the targets here. And in the old days, we've got some 2-cent postcards where the match director would would fill in the score and mail them in. Well, now it's all done by email. But of the 16 plaques that I picked up for last winter's activities, 5 of those are at this club, and I'd like to present those today. So if we could have Kristen, Sean, Jennifer, and Lee, who's accepting for Samuel, come on up, and we'll present those. Now, postal matches next year, we're going to do the same events. We do air rifle, air pistol, and we do bullseye pistol conventional. We have teams, and we shoot center fire, which is an international sport but no longer an Olympic sport. Sport pistol, which we started shooting this year, is shot with 22 pistols, and it's shot in 2 series, a slow fire and a rapid fire, and it's shot in the Paralympics. It's a Paralympic event, and it's the Women Olympic shooting, one of the women's Olympic shooting events, as is the air pistol and air rifle. And it's also a chance for juniors to make a national junior team because they have junior men and junior women shooting sport pistol. And this year we had, for our inaugural thing, we'll start off with, in no particular order, we have the sport pistol woman winner, and that's Jennifer Young. And then, Lee, are you handy? Right here. Okay, and accepting for Samuel Mitchell, the junior winner.
Wonderful. I'll make sure Sam gets this.
Okay, thank you. And air pistol was one of the other events, and in Division 2, that would be Sean Robichaud. And we had air rifle, another event, another Olympic event. And we have Kristen Yaten. And last but not least, in the sport pistol para class, we have John Robichaud. Now, I shoot on a team in another club that will remain nameless, but their team did beat us, but neither of us won the team event. So next year, teams from here and teams from there are both going to have to do better in the team events. But thank you very much, and we thank you for participating and for winning.
Thank you.